Welcome to Money 911. I'm Kris Miller, your host. Today we're holding space for what changes us forever. When someone we love crosses over, decisions get heavier, time gets strange. The brain wants answers while the heart wants just one more day. My guest, Tim Ringgold, author, TEDx speaker, and board-certified music therapist, has walked this road and guided thousands with the medicine of music. If grief is sitting at your table, maybe this conversation will be a soft hand on your back and a lantern for the next step. All right, Tim, I've been really wanting this conversation. And personally, in the last few years, I've gone through a lot of it, a lot of grief. And I found that nobody wants to talk about it. There's very few people that really, there's no training on it. They don't teach it in school. And with a little help from our friends, we could really see the blessings of the grief to help us transform it. So let me ask you this. When love changes form, where does the relationship live now? And how does that soften decisions?
Well, two pieces there, and it is great that we're getting to have this conversation because you're right. Nobody likes to talk about grief. They think it's morbid, even though it's just death is just 100%.
Right.
Like I have a really good accountant. I don't pay a lot of taxes. The joke about death and taxes are
Exactly.
optional. Death is not. I'm going to be honest. So, like in honesty, you're either you have grieved, you are grieving, or you will grieve. All humans fall into one of those three categories. And since we don't teach each other what's normal in the grief process, it adds for unnecessary suffering. And since we don't teach each other how to hold space for each other when the other is grieving, then
Right.
it gets awkward and social relationships get strained and social support gets strained. And it's just unnecessary suffering. That's the way I look at it. I mean,
Yeah,
grief
totally.
it's an emotional wound that is painful. It's full of pain. The pain is unavoidable, but the suffering is, and that's why I'm so committed to the work I do, because I just want people to understand what they're going through is normal. They don't have to go through it alone, and they don't have to just talk about it in order for it to feel better, but they do need to feel what they're feeling. Um, I loved your question about when love changes form. So, one of the things that's exciting about teaching about grief is you, as the lover, you get to decide how to continue your relationship with your loved one. It's totally up to you. And people look to faith, they look to like religion to tell them what to do, they look to psychology. It's like you don't have to look to anybody. You can look to your gut and decide, how do you want to honor your loved one? How do you want to continue the relationship? The physical
Right.
presence is gone. So now what?
Right.
And you get to decide. Like, you can continue to have conversations with them. You can continue to journal with them if you want to. You can decide to never enjoy another day in your life if that's your way of honoring the loved one. And boy, do a lot of people do that because they think their grief is their love. And those
Yeah.
are two different things.
Yeah.
So you
Exactly.
don't have to grieve to love. And if you continue to feel your feelings of grief, those feelings heal over time and the love remains.
Exactly.
Doesn't go away. Doesn't go
Right.
away. And I think that's the biggest fear for most people, is that they're afraid of feeling better because then they feel like they must no longer love their loved
Yeah,
one.
they betrayed them or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
not the case. Not the case.
Right.
So it just changes form, and that relationship can change over time. And with each person you lose, that you don't have to do the same thing with each person, because all grief is both universal and unique. So every loss you have is totally unique to you. Two kids who lose the same parent don't grieve the same way because they didn't have the same relationship.
Right.
And when two parents die, that one kid had a different relationship with each parent. So one way of grieving may be appropriate for one, and it may not be for the other. So
Right.
it's a very personal decision and journey. full of sovereignty and agency. You get to choose how this goes, and I just like to show people that they don't have to stay miserable. That's an
Right.
option, but it's not a requirement.
Right. You get the choice.
Yes.
And for my personal journey is I've got a lot of faith. I believe that there is no death and
Yep.
we live in light after and
Me too.
all of this, right? Christ, everlasting life. But when it came down to practice application in my own life, that's where the rubber met the road because the illusion of the grief, say in my journey, was there wasn't anyone like all the families on the other side having a big party without, you know,
Yeah.
there's no one to bounce off of it. So that shifted everything. It shifted the grief from just like one person to, wait a minute, my brother or my dad or my mommy or whatever, like, well, you're my brother. And it made my expression get bigger.
Yep.
And the propulsion of the pain is now turning into the purpose inside of my business about what I talk about. But that is like, it's not there. Because this is what's so crazy. It's out of the blue, right? The butterfly goes by or something. And it doesn't have to be death. It could be, a divorce. It could be losing a job. People, the levels of
Sure.
grief.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
it just, something can snap it. And you could be cruising along and then all of a sudden, like, right? It just,
For sure.
so if
Yep.
grief could speak plainly, right? What would it say it's protecting in me today?
It's a great question. I don't know if grief is protecting anything. For me, the way I think through grief is the analogy is that grief is a social amputation. It's the
Mm,
pain that's resulting from the forced loss of a social limb.
mm,
So humans are social animals. And so we live and die in groups and we are connected, interconnected. And like you said, like my brother, or like you may be fictive my brother, you may be biologically my brother. Either way, that connection's real.
mhm.
And as humans, we survive because of those connections. If you take a baby and you cut off all the connections and you just feed it, it will die. It's called failure to thrive. And they learned this in World War II. And so like
Right.
humans need connection to survive. When someone dies or they're out of your life, that connection has been severed like a limb. It's like an
Yeah.
amputation. And then you have phantom limb pain. You look for your loved one. You
Right.
think you see them. You think you smell them. You have phantom limb pain because your brain is still looking in your environment for that person because it has been used to geolocating that person in time and space. And when
Mm,
you take that out of the equation, that is a painful process for the brain to heal from that amputation. And so social amputation is what that is. And the loss of connection causes pain. And it's also a threat because we've just lost a part of ourselves. And if you cut off all of my connections to the outside world, first I go crazy and then I die.
yeah.
That's what
Right.
happens to a human being.
Right.
It's very predictable. So the nervous system in the body goes into a fight or flight. The threat stress response is very real inside of grief. And if it feels hard, it's because it is.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. The way you talked about the limb,
Thank you.
yeah, very, very good and very clarifying. If people, just this clarity, everybody needs to know about it because everybody has to go through it.
And you've heard this before from people who have lost a loved one. They'll say, I feel like I lost a part of myself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you did.
Right.
You did. It's just that in the United States, we have a very individualism
Hmm.
kind of filter through how we think about ourselves. It's like we
Yeah.
are individuals, like self-help, self-determination. That's cultural. That's not endemic to all humans. That's very much a Western United States individualism, rugged independence kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the reasons I believe that our culture struggles with grief so much because we think like, well, I should be able to do this on my own. I should be able to handle this. I should, and they end up shoulding all over
Should
themselves.
yeah.
But
Exactly.
in all honesty, like we recognize that, wait a minute, there's a word in that I think it's Yoruban, comes from Africa, and the word is Ubuntu, Ubuntu, Ubuntu. And the word roughly translated is I am because you are. Like my being me is as much a result of you being you. Your presence in the world and your presence in my life influences me in who I am and am becoming. And it recognizes this social reality that humans cooperate in. And we forget about that here in the States. We very much think we're like, we can do it on our own, self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. We're not. We're very much not that. And
Right.
so it's unnecessarily hard for people here in the States. And one of the things that we do is we don't talk about it and we
Right.
leave people alone because we don't know what to talk about because we think it's going to be
Right.
awkward. Like, oh, I'm going to bring up your loved one died. You forgot until I reminded you.
Right.
Trust me, they didn't forget. It's okay. And so we spare the awkward moment, and then now we've got a secondary disconnection.
Mm.
Now, someone in my life who's still alive, who I count on, has disappeared on me.
Yeah.
And now I'm suffering because of that loss. I have someone in my life who, since my daughter died in 2010, snip, cut the cord, has not spoken to me since.
Mm.
I already lost my daughter. Now I lost this other person too. She's
Ah,
still alive, but
yeah.
she's dead to me because
Mm.
she's made the disconnection. So now I have a secondary wound, right, on top of
Right.
it. That happens in this culture of ours so much. And if people were just willing to endure the awkward moment, they would
Hmm.
spare so much suffering. So what's the awkward moment? The awkward moment is just saying, listen, I don't know what to say, and I know there's nothing I can say. What I want to say is, I'm so sorry you're going through what you're going through. I genuinely am. I love you. I don't know what to do,
Right.
but I'm here for you. And the one
Yeah.
thing I want to give your listeners I want to throw them a bone. So there's two types of people in this world. There are doers and there are beers. Doers are people who can get things done. They're like good at tasks, give
Hmm.
them the laundry, give them the
Right.
shopping list. They're off and running.
Hmm.
Beers are people who can hold space. They don't
Right.
necessarily need to do anything, but they can be with your pain. They can be with your suffering without it being awkward for them, painful for them, or without them feeling the need to solve it. So, to your listeners, do a self assessment. Ask yourself, am I a doer or am I a beer? Your gut will tell you right away which one's more comfortable for you. Are you comfortable with just listening to somebody talk about really heavy stuff without doing anything about it? Great, you're a beer. If you'd rather just get the laundry or the Trader Joe's list and go off and do some
Right.
grocery shopping and you know you can handle that or take their car in for the repair that it needs, then be the doer. If you're a doer, you say to your friend, listen, I'm so sorry you're going through this. Can I help with the groceries or can I bring
Mm.
over a meal? Something specific,
Yeah.
right? Don't just say if there's anything I can do because their brain's like, zzz, but
Right.
something very specific. I'm going to Trader Joe's. What do you need from the store right now? I'll bring
Right.
it by on the way home. So that's a doer. The beer is, listen, I'm so sorry. I do not know what it's like to what you're going through right now, but I'm a great listener and I won't give stupid platitudes or advice. If you just need someone to word vomit on, you could word vomit towards me or my voicemail anytime you need.
That's good. That's very, very good. Well, what are like three myths about grief that quietly multiply suffering for high achievers?
Yeah, so that's great. The first one that comes to mind is that time heals all wounds.
Mm.
We've heard people say that.
Yeah.
It sounds good.
It does.
Time does not heal grief; it
No.
buries it. So
It-
it's like a scab, like we pack
Mhm.
down that energy because the grief is, emotion, which is energy in motion, right? And so what do? We pack that energy down into our body somewhere and we stow it away. La la la, stay busy. And then a song comes on the radio and
Oh
suddenly
no.
we're like, blah, right?
Right.
Zero to tears in
Yep.
1 second.
Yep.
And that's when you've got some unprocessed grief and that song just picked the scab. And boy, does it hurt when you pick a scab. You're like, ow.
Yeah.
It hurts.
I
Legit. It
know,
hurts. I don't care how tough you are. You
Yep,
see a grown man wince. What happened? Oh, I just fucking stupid scab. Oh, it hurts.
exactly. It
So,
hurts.
like, that's people running from their grief. They're like, oh,
Yep,
I'll just stay busy, and that's what a lot of people will do. They'll get very
yep.
busy in their grief and to avoid it, and they're just trying to outrun it. And I have people come on our grief retreat where it's been 6 weeks, or it's been 6 months, or it's been 6 years.
Yep.
And when they walk in and it's been 6 years since their loved one died, they look frozen when they walk through the door. Their facial affect is tight, their
Yeah.
posture is tight. You go to like touch them, they're just like tight to the touch
Right.
because their nervous system is frozen in that fear and in that stress of that loss. And they've been trying to outrun it, but their body keeps the score. The body
Yeah, it
keeps the
sure
score.
does. It sure does. And boy, I mean, I couldn't even listen to music, any music, because I write music. It
Yep.
all triggers
Yep.
me.
Yes.
It
Yeah. So two other things that are worth mentioning is one, you don't have to talk about it,
right.
but you do need to feel it. So you'll hear people say, "Do you want to talk about it? Do you want to talk about it?" You know what? Bob's not talking about it. I think if he talked about it, he'd feel a lot better. People will project, talkers will project
Yeah.
onto
Yeah.
non-talkers that talking is the pathway.
Yeah.
Not for them, because words are a challenge. Listen, we live in a culture that's hyper obsessed with talking about it. But the reality is, first, you got to have the right words. How many times have you ever felt something and you don't know how to put it into words? Like, we'll literally say, I'm at a loss for words. So, like, words are a problem. The second thing is, like, sometimes we don't feel like using them. I don't want to talk
Right.
about it. Or I don't feel safe talking about it with anybody I currently know or have access to. For example, I'm a middle-aged man. I run my own business. I'm a high-performing entrepreneur. I don't want to go to my wife and trouble her. I want to be the strong one in my house. I don't want to go to my buddies I play pickleball with or go watch football with. Like,
Right.
we're not having that conversation where I'm going to open up and talk about what's going on inside. Like, no, they're not capable of having that conversation. Like, and I don't want to talk about it with them. I'm a guy in long-term recovery. There are times where my sponsor will listen to me till the cows come home. I don't want to hear myself speak.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it, right? So sometimes we just don't have the willingness to talk about it. And then the last one is, Kris, God bless, we don't have someone to talk to who won't take it personally,
Yeah.
won't get triggered, won't scold us, won't judge us, or won't try to solve the problem or give us some lame ass platitude like, oh, God doesn't give us anything more than we can handle, or
Right.
God must have needed her so much he brought her back to heaven early. Like that kind of, spare
Yeah.
me that crap,
Yeah.
please,
Yeah. Ouch.
but people don't know what to do,
You
right?
don't.
So talking about it may not be the best mode of healing for someone. There are lots of ways you can
Yeah.
heal your grief. And on our retreats, as a music therapist, we lean into music, but we lean into lots of different modalities that we can use to move that energy, express that emotion without having to use words.
That's
So that's
wonderful.
another thing. The other myth is like having the right thing to say for
Right.
someone. Like, people feel like they need to know what to say. So
Right.
you don't need to say anything. You're off the hook.
Right.
There's nothing to say. There's nothing to say. You don't have the answer to their pain. You
Yeah.
can't take it away. You can't solve the situation. There's nothing you can do. So you're off the hook. You don't have to. All you need to say is genuinely what's in your heart. You are
Right.
genuinely sorry they're going through what they're going through. You really are.
Yeah.
So, like, tell them that.
Yeah.
But thoughts and prayers, save that.
Right.
Just save that, because that phrase has been kind of just
Ugh.
demonized in our culture these days for
Yeah.
inaction. Like, it's like a trite thing, right?
Right.
But like, listen, I am so sorry. I don't even know what to say.
Right.
There's nothing I can say, but I love you. And, I'm here to listen, or let me pick up something from the store for you. Like, outside of that, zip it. Just
Yeah.
be quiet.
Right.
And your friend who's grieving, they may never call you, but I will tell you that I've had more than one occasion where someone told me, I know that I never reached out after you offered,
Hmm.
but I knew the whole time that I could.
Yeah.
And just knowing that I could meant a lot to me.
I've created the Safe Money Blueprint. This is the same strategy that thousands of my clients have used to feel secure about their financial future. And you can get it free at healthymoneyhappylife.com/blueprint.
Hmm,
Absolutely. Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, walk us through, I just, when we first connected, it was, running into my brother, right? And we just hit it off. We talked,
Hmm.
your healing was with a sound, and maybe you could walk us through 90 seconds of sound, sanctuary, breath, tone, or melody that would settle the nervous system before a hard choice, because like you were saying, that just gets instilled inside of you, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So this is great. Before a hard choice is such a great cue because typically when we're grieving, our stress response has been activated. So we're in that classic fight or flight response, fight or run, basically escape. So what's happening between our ears is we are in short-term escape, survive, react mode. The part of our brain that is best used for problem solving and decision making is the creative part of our brain. Now, that's creative and collaborative, but that is only accessible when our nervous system is relaxed. When our nervous system is in the stress response, it gets bypassed for reactivity. So it is critical to be able to literally calm the nerves before we're going to make an important decision. Now,
Right.
there's two things that will do that, three things that will do that super fast. One is breath. So anytime you are breathing through your nose, you're breathing down into the bottom of your lungs, and you are exhaling longer than you're inhaling. You are moving the nervous system from stressed to rest. So those are just easy things to think about, like breathe
Right.
through the nose, breathe down into your belly, breathe out more than you breathe in. Just doing that is going to shift your nervous system. The single fastest way to turn the stress response off is called the physiologic sigh. Physiologic sigh is a long inhale followed by a short inhale, both through the nose, and then a long exhale. So it would look like this. That's called the physiologic sigh.
All
Three
right.
of those
Okay.
is the fastest way to go from stressed to rest. The
Cool.
challenge with breath work is you have to remember.
Yeah. Right.
That's the trick. So, one of the techniques as a music therapist that I like is using music. And there's a very specific kind of music that I like to use. And if it's okay, I'd love to demonstrate it here
Yes,
right now.
please.
And then I'll unpack why it works so
That'd
well.
be fabulous.
So, for those of you listening, you can't see this, but I'm holding a double barrel Native American flute, where one side of it is a drone and the other side of it is a classic Native American flute. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to play it just for a few seconds. I'm going to turn on some reverb and some echo just to give it some epic sound. And what I'd like you or the listener to do while I play the flute, I just want you to close your eyes unless you're driving. And I just want you to allow the sounds of the flute to take your mind's eye wherever it wants to go. Just allow it to conjure whatever images that it sees and just hop on a magic carpet and head out to wherever that is. And gently bringing your awareness back into the moment and allowing your eyes to open wherever you are. Welcome back. Sorry I left the reverb on while I was given those instructions. So all I did was play a little bit of wooden flute. That's all I did, quote unquote. But my question to you, Kris, is like, where did you go in your mind's eye? What did you picture?
Well, I went right to grief.
Mm.
I went back to, you're asking me, okay,
Yeah.
a lot of emotion. Um, I used to play my guitar with my earth brother
Yep.
inside a Stanford church. And we would just sit there for hours in the resonance of the flute and the guitar sounds, and we just play and heal,
Beautiful.
and that's how I grew up, uh, with the healing sounds, and then writing songs and everything. And so
Yeah. Took you
it
back.
it was, and it was like a sort of like an infinity sign, because as it went down into the grief of the long lost brother that's gone, that's not
Mm-hmm.
there anymore,
Mm-hmm.
that there he was again, right before me right now,
Mm.
playing the sound, the flute, where he played the
Mm.
flute. So it's like a full circle of,
Neat.
right.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. And thanks for being open to the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. For a lot of people, when they hear the sound of a wooden flute, it takes them very specifically either back to a personal experience that involves a flute or to nature.
Right.
And the reason why is because in our culture, uh, anytime you hear a Native American flute played, the scene on TV is usually a pastoral scene of some beautiful place in the
Right.
Midwest or in the Southwest, right? There's just like this iconic imagery and that sound going with it. Now, humans are from nature. That's where we spent most of our existence and are very much more comfortable in nature than indoors. We are
Mm,
not built to be indoors. It is a
exactly.
sensory deprivation chamber that puts us up into our head,
Yep.
thinking way too much about the past and the future, which is exactly where grief loves to grind its gears and do its most damage, is when
Wow.
we are up in our head, disconnected from the present moment.
Mm,
And so getting out into nature is super good recovery for grief. And if you can't get out to nature physically, you can go onto YouTube and you can type flute meditation music in, and you'll get hours of free flute music that you can listen to that will calm your nervous system within just a mere couple of minutes. 5 minutes, no more than 15. And now you are in the calm, cool, and collected gear in your head so that you can make better decisions.
wow, that's good. That was kind of my next question, is to teach us a simple continuing bond ritual daily way to stay connected without staying stuck.
Mm.
And that
Yeah, so
comes
in
off.
terms of like how do you maintain, let's go for full circle, right? Like
Right.
your love is transforming, right? So how do you want to maintain your relationship with your loved one?
Right.
And that's as open-ended as, I mean, that's like writing a song. It's like, well,
Yeah.
there's a number of chords out there, but whatever order you put them in is makes it yours. So there's lots of different ways people stay connected with their loved ones, and whatever feels good, whatever feels like I feel connected with you as I move forward, right?
Right.
But I'm moving because
Right.
I'm still here, right? But I'm
Right.
taking you with me.
Yeah. Right.
So I'm going to take you with me. I'm
Yep.
not going to leave you behind. And in the research, what it shows is what's one of the most important things to do, Kris, is to envision your loved one where they are now.
Mm,
Pick your belief
mhm.
inside of whatever you believe, doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. All that matters is that you decide if you believe that your loved one's energy and essence still exists.
Right.
Visualize the face you want at the stage of their life that you prefer, and put them in some sort of time space location so that they're no longer in your memory from the past. They're moving with you in the present,
Mm,
but they're
nice.
moving with you wherever they are.
Very
So
good. Yeah.
the brain needs that because otherwise it feels like there's this tug of war with your past because every day I continue to live, I drift further and further away from my loved one because I'm relating to them from my past.
Right.
So what they figured out, some pretty smart people in the grief world, was like, okay, then pick a place that they are now
Mm,
and envision it for yourself and take them with you.
nice.
And what that does to the human brain, it allows the brain to heal that wound of grief and that pain. And now, yeah, the past is the past. The past is the past, whether someone's living or not. I mean, my wife and I are still alive, but our past, like we're never going back to our honeymoon,
Right.
but we're going forward together. Right. So
Yeah.
there's a difference to like the relationship to that. Like it's not bittersweet. So if you give yourself that permission of seeing your loved one in a new place and you get
Hmm.
to decide what that looks like, that's the cool part. Wow. It's really, really, really helpful for the human experience.
So you're saying like, I mean, are you imagining them, say I'm imagining them in heaven, or am I imagining them still in this form?
Wherever you want. Like you
Wherever you
can,
want.
so,
Okay.
so like, so my grandpa, when he
Yeah.
died of cancer, he was a shell of his former self, right?
Yeah.
He was like half the body weight he was
Right.
when he was this vibrant man.
Mm,
So like, I'm not envisioning who
gotcha.
died. I'm
Okay.
envisioning who lived.
Yeah.
And I'm envisioning him like on like he's standing on a springboard in front of a pool because he used to love diving into his pool,
Right.
floating across the pool to the other end. It was his favorite daily ritual. And I'm like, that guy is diving into the great pool in heaven and he is floating across the pool every day,
Right.
reliving that great moment from here
Yeah.
on. And so I'm I'm picturing he's doing that now as the version of him that I want to see rather than I'm holding on to a memory from my past. I'm saying that's what he's doing today in heaven. Do I have any proof that that's what's happening? Of course not. It has nothing to do with proof. It has nothing to do with that. So
Mm,
if someone has a faith in heaven,
hmm.
visualize what's your loved one doing in heaven. Quite
Right.
literally take the time and see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it, make it real for you that
Yeah.
this is what they're doing right now, as if they just moved somewhere around the globe and they're rocking their best life in, another city. Like my daughter who just moved to London,
Yeah.
she's gone, but she's living her best life at the same time.
Right.
So there's the way of thinking about that is your loved one's gone, but now they're living their next life. And,
Yeah.
and there's enough of them to in this great expanse of this all to where they can be present to what you're up to. You can be imagining what they're up to. And the most important thing is you can maintain the connection as you move forward.
Very cool. Very, very, very helpful. You know,
Cool.
that there's a thing called decision fatigue plus grief, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
One micro boundary that makes room for mercy today. What's up with all that? How?
Man,
Mm,
our brains are so overloaded during the grief process as we're healing.
right.
It's like if you had had surgery on your leg, intuitively you can't go run a marathon.
Hmm.
You just had surgery, right? So there's your capacity level is reduced while you're healing.
Hmm.
In grief, your mental capacity level is reduced while you're healing. You can't handle the amount of decisions and cognitive load that you normally are overloaded by because no one can handle the current cognitive load in the 21st century. So, first, we have to operate on the premise that we're all overloaded
Yeah.
daily,
Yeah.
even when we're not grieving.
Right.
So the illusion is gone when you're grieving. You can't even pretend.
Right.
And so you're operating at one half to one quarter of your normal cognitive and physical capacity. So it is the time to be putting off major decisions for like a year, if possible, when
Mm.
possible. Delay major decisions because it would be like delay running your next marathon
Mm.
for till a year after your surgery for the same reason because you can't perform the way you normally can perform. So you can't perform cognitively, make the best decision for your future self while you're laid up in convalescence from grieving. So don't
Right.
do it if possible. Sometimes life is what it is and we have to make decisions about stuff. I get it. But if it's possible, delay it as long as possible.
Mm. Very, very, very good. I tell everybody about what's going on with you and your next events and ways
Yeah,
that they can participate with you and go through
sure.
this healing.
Sure. So I host grief retreats several times a year in the American Southwest. I do several in Arizona, in Paradise Valley at the
Mhm.
Franciscan Renewal Center. I also do several a year in Oceanside at the Mission San Luis Rey, which is also a Franciscan Renewal Center. I also run an amazing longevity tribe of people who are healing what I call life after loss, like how to find purpose and charge forward into the life we still have. So all of that is very exciting to me to give people the space to heal and to decide what's next for them and then to move forward in a community aspect so that they don't feel like they ever have to go through any of this alone.
Yeah.
They're in a group of people who get it. And
Mhm.
because as a music therapist, I have a music based approach to all of this. I've never introduced music to anybody. So it's a pretty good friend that everybody's already got. So to be
Right.
able to leverage music as a tool, teaching people the precautions around music and how music can sometimes be the wrong tool at the wrong time, and sometimes it's the perfect tool. And then also empowering people to make it. You know, most of us we live in a culture of music listeners, so empowering people to make music and showing them how easy it is. That's one of the things we do on all our retreats. Everybody's making music on my retreats.
Right.
And one of the most fun things is I have a website called timsinstruments.com, which is like an Amazon page. All the instruments I bring on my retreat, everybody's played by the end of the retreat. And they're like, oh my God, I want one of these for myself.
Right.
And then they go off and they buy an instrument, and now they're making music on a daily basis, which is so good for their healing. And there's
Yes.
like, I literally wrote a book on the topic of how to heal through music, so called Sonic Recovery. So
Beautiful.
you can find out all about what I'm doing in this world at timringgold.com. That's my main website that'll tell you about my clinical work as a music therapist and as my grief work. And it'll always show you the next retreat coming up. And when the time is right, come spend some time with us in the Southwest and heal.
Fabulous. It's very inspiring to me.
Thank
I'm
you.
really I didn't even get into half the fourth of the questions of what, so you're just gonna have to come back.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
was
We've
way
only
cool.
just begun.
We've only just begun. Yeah. Anyway, for sure, for sure. Tim, it's a complete honor to have you here. And again, I look forward to sharing some more sacred sounds with you and healing the world.
Awesome. Thanks, Kris. Thanks again for having me.
All right. Thank you. Friend, if every decision feels heavier, it's not weakness, it's love still working. Try a 90-second sound sanctuary today, hand to heart, slow breath, one steady tone or song that helps your body say, I'm here, I'm loved, I can take the next step. Tim, thank you for your grace and guidance. For gentle resources, please see show notes. I'm Kris Miller. I love you. I believe in you, and I'm cheering for your peace of mind. Your person's love didn't end, it changed form, and that love can still lead you forward. There's so much to learn about healthy money. I hope today's discussion brings you one step closer to securing and protecting your future. So you can get started on the right foot, go to meetwithkrismiller.com and schedule your free financial fitness strategy session. Thank you for listening, and please subscribe to Money 911 so you don't miss our next episode, which includes health, wealth, and peace of mind. The power of purpose. Doing well by doing good. The power of purpose. Doing well by doing good. The power to bless lives inside of all.